Hello and welcome back to Rage Gaming and more Monster Hunter Wilds talk. Today we're talking tempered monsters as one of the key endgame systems that you'll be engaging a lot with. But understanding all the different aspects of it I think is well worth knowing about so that you can maximize your time in this endgame. So let's start talking tempered monsters. Tempered monsters are going to be unlocked or first become available technically at Hunter rank 20+. You'll just need to complete the special main story quest that unlocks them called Wyvern Sparks and Rose Thorns. This occurs in chapter 4 and I believe it's the third main sort of story quest of that chapter, in which you go and take down a tempered Lalabarina. From that point onwards, if you take a look at the map and all of the different locales, you'll start to see these tempered creatures spawning, like this one, Tempered Balahara. Their icons here are outlined in purple to help you spot them, and they do have some unique effects as well. Like for example, if I track a normal monster like I'm doing so, you can see my scout flies letting me know the route towards my target, which is of course green. By comparison, if I was to track a tempered monster, it'll still show green on the map, but visually it'll be different. You see how the scout flies are now this dark blue or even towards purple coloring? That's to show I'm after a tempered monster right now, helping you track them. Tempered monsters are essentially battle-hardened survivors though, which is why they're stronger than normal monsters. They have both more health and also will deal more damage to you compared to a non-tempered version of the same monster. The majority of the monsters in-game can spawn as tempered versions though, even a Chatacabra, the very first monster you'll hunt. But, hilariously, there's just one monster that you will not see tempered, at least in this version, and that's the final boss of the game, at the end of the story. After all, for some reason, we can only face Zoshia once. You can't even go back and hunt it again later, at least not right now. We are expecting fully some kind of change to that in Title Update 1, though, because, it makes a lot of sense. Whether we see some kind of special version, or say a tempered Zoshia, we'll have to see. But we are aware that Title Update 1 will be more than just Mizutsune, so we can be excited for that. Personally, I have a lot of hope that they'll introduce layered weapons in Update 1, because god, do we need it with all the Artian weapons. Now, tempered monsters are a little bit special, both visually and mechanically, as well as what you get from hunting them and the different rewards. Tempered monsters have these unique blue and even greyish scars across their body. For example, we can even have one on the leg here of this Rathian, as well as the side of its head. If you target these, you can actually break them open to reveal special coloured wounds, which make for fantastic targets actually for a big burst of damage with a focus strike, or maybe normal weapon damage if you deal enough damage to actually pop it, like any wound. But when broken, something unique does happen. You'll get instantly some bloodstones of different sizes based on the target. You can then bring these bloodstones to Suja and come to the melding pot to interact with them. If you use the second option, meld relics, we can actually meld specific weapon shards, or just like RNG one of them, and in this case we can use these bloodstones for this kind of melding. The bigger the shard, the more scaling point value it has, allowing you to meld a bunch of these very quickly. So there's added rewards for specifically breaking those special wounds. But when you do break these wounds, you also generate some new tempered remains. In previous games, breaking apart in this way would result in an extra material, sure, and that might even be a gem if you're really lucky, but in Wilds it's a bit different. Now, instead of monster parts that you pick up, you'll get special slinger ammo, which are often very potent and have some strong effects. You just get them in small quantities. Heavy pods come in a few versions, like the blunt pods, which could cause flinches, or the piercing version for great bursts of damage, as a couple examples. You just want to be wary with these since they are very heavy. They fire with some serious drop weight to them, meaning they won't actually have as much range as normal pods. But they are well worth using and picking up, that is for sure. But hunting tempered monsters also provides unique rewards, weapon shards for Artian weapon crafting, and the special hunter symbol items, these like golden pages. The hunter symbols are used in a variety of crafts, whether it's armor for yourself or palicos like in this case, but they do come in 3 versions, and that's how we actually refer to the tier of monsters tied to them because of it. So you'll find in the large monster field guide that it's ordered relatively close to this. It'd be nice if it was accurately done. But your tier 1 tempered monsters are going to be Chatacabra, Cumatrice, Lalabarina, Congalala, Balahara, Rompompolo, Nerzilla, Hirobami, Yiankuku, Gypsaros, and also Rathian. Tier 2 monsters then, for the second level ticket, you'd be after Deshagama, Ajarakan, the Guardian version of Deshagama, the Guardian version of Rathalos. We have Guardian Odegron, Zuwu, which sucks. Personally, I think he should be a higher tier monster. I want to fight him more. the Guardian Fulgur Anjanath, of course regular Rathios as well, Gravios, and even Blangonga. The final tier 3 monsters are essentially reserved for the special ones. You've got the 2 named monsters of Gore, Magala, and of course the flagship, Arkveld. They're both tier 3. But also in that tier is the 4 apexes of the game, of course. Dahaad, New Udra, Raydao, and finally, Duna. So those tier 3 monsters in tempered version, they all will drop hunter symbols at rank 3 by hunting them. But you know, those tickets are worth more than specifically just crafting with Gemma. If you use them at the smelting foundry, you can indeed use them for some other purposes. Like for example, smelting your armor spheres. They're worth 90 points, which is pretty damn high. But they can also be used to smelt ore, which is very important for the reinforcing that we're of course doing. Again, worth 90 points in this case, so well worth farming and using. Not to mention, say the tier 3 monster parts like Arkveld, these are worth some of the most that you can get, so farming tier 3 monsters is worth more than just the tickets. But of course, bloodstones and hunter symbols aren't the only or even main reason why we're hunting tempered monsters. A big reason to hunt tempered monsters is of course the ever important weapon shards. Weapon shards are used to forge your Artian weapons. Now, depending on the weapon, you'll need 3 different parts, like for example with dual blades here, 2 blades and 1 disc. But there's technically 4 parts you could find: blades, discs, devices, and also tubes. The parts come in 3 different versions, so you have the lowest version, which is the damaged weapon shard here, with these white visuals. Above that, we have the pinkish ones, rarity 6, rusted weapon shards. And above that, we have the highest one, the ancient weapon fragments at rarity 7, which when identified, they all go up 1 rarity, so this is actually your rarity 8 weapon parts, the most important ones. And you can see how that tier system comes into play for these. The lowest tier monsters, like a tempered Balahara, that's got your white, damaged weapon shards, and above that, we have tier 2 monsters with the rusted pinkish versions, and again the highest version with the tier 3 monsters being involved, so tier 3 monster here, tempered New Udra. So by hunting those specific tier 3 monsters, aka the 4 apexes, Gore and Arkveld, you'll get what you need to craft your Artian weapons. But of course it's not so straightforward, as you've got all that RNG within the system, there's a lot going on there. After all, not only do we need the specific right parts, but you're also going to need the elements and the infusions. You can choose between affinity and attack for your weapons. In most cases, triple attack is better, so that simplifies things. Though all 3 parts will need to be the same rarity, though, you know, the highest tier is going to be 8, and that's what we're after, so not too much of a concern. But you've also got to choose whether you're going to go into an element setup like we've got here. Maybe you'll go into status instead, like this. Or maybe you'll want to go full raw. So in the case of full raw, you need 3 parts that are completely different. So we have paralysis, poison, and water. So the result is a raw weapon. If you want element or status, at least 2 of the 3 parts are going to need to be the same. So 2 dragon here would result in a dragon weapon. But if you're really going for status and element, then you're going to want 3 of the same parts, because the number will go up. As you can see, we're at 270 dragon there. And as we get the 3rd dragon part, it goes up to 300. So if you're aiming for element weapons, that's definitely something you want to do. So you're going to need lots of parts for that purpose. But also, of course, reinforcing, where most of the RNG truly is going to be. When you're reinforcing these, there's 5 reinforcements that can be done. This uses that special ore we looked at earlier. We're going to need 50 of the oracel at the end there to get the full reinforcement. And all the RNG involved in this is going to be very hard to get the exact thing you want. For example, in this case, what I'm after is 4 element boost and maybe 1 sharpness. And I got 1 element boost on this roll, which is not what I'm looking for. So those parts that I used to craft it, they're worthless now, they're gone. On the bright side, you can dismantle these and get 100% of the parts of reinforcement back. So I got a bad roll, I'll dismantle that, I'll get those parts back, and what I'll need to do is forge another one. The problem is that I just used resources to do that. So I only have 1 dragon attack infusion blade left. I've got a few more of the discs, and I've got a couple more of the dragon devices. So I've got to craft another one, and I'm going to need to be farming those materials to keep doing this, to keep rolling the RNG and hoping I get what I need. But because I can at least get all of that oracel back, I don't have to keep farming that, which is at least an upside of this system. But to say that that was my last roll for the moment, getting only 1 element boost, it's not going to cut it. I'm going to need to keep farming more blades, which I'm low on. And therefore, back to the tempered monster grind. To make you quickly aware of how really effective this can be, I want to show you some hunts that are so good. Like for example, this one. This has 8 of the weapon fragments we need alongside 4 extra sword decorations, which is great. But this one, single hunt, tempered arkveld, 10 weapon fragments from one single hunt. So you can get some absolutely phenomenal hunts. And the trick to finding them is really just patience. You take a look at the map and see if there's anything particularly good available right now. You can also take a look at the forecast to see if anything good is coming up. We're looking for tier 3 monsters. Like for example, a tempered gore magala could be spawning soon, and that might have a good investigation. So maybe I'll pass time by gathering, doing other hunts, and letting time pass naturally, and then eventually a gore magala would spawn. Or if there's nothing coming up or I don't want to wait, we can just do a straight rest, go to say the time of inclemency for storms, whatever daytime you like, use some guild points to reset. And that fully refreshes everything that's available, completely new, including the forecast. This hasn't moved time forward, it's a full reset and a new list of what's available. We have a tier 3 monster in tempered udra here, but it's not a good hunt because it's only 3 weapon parts, not worth my time. And so that was a pretty bad roll. So we'll go back into the tent, rest, refresh the list until we get something that's good. When we spot something we do actually care about though, what we'll do is save it as an investigation using those points. So we can do that 3 times and get those rewards. But since it's on the map right now, we can actually do it one more time by beginning a field survey. Meaning I can do this quest with these rewards 4 times total when it's offered to me. So if you find one that's particularly potent, run it 4 times while you can. But yeah, that's my overview of the tempered monster system and the things you need to know in regards to how they work, how to maximize the rewards from them, and all of the systems involved with them. If you guys have anything you'd like to add to this topic, feel free to let us know in the comments, maybe you'll help someone. But otherwise, I hope it was a useful video. Until next time, I've been Hollow, you've been you, thanks for watching.
Josh, Cotton, and Hollow with the videos, dropping the humor like a hammer on your tippy toes, bringing entertainment on a daily arrangement to take our insanity and turn it into entertainment. Yes, I said entertainment twice, to reiterate that it is nice to look into your faces on a mostly daily basis when you let us in your homes to make the whole world a stage. Goodbye.